People who cut off their family, what did they to you? Grew up in an explosive and abusive household. When I was finally able to move out, I started slowing distancing myself. Mom went off the deep end. Started out accusing me of sleeping with every single person I know, yes, every person, coming up with outlandish stories for why I was an awful person, threatening suicide. When I cut her off completely, she started stalking me. I changed my number and moved to a new state. I did not give anyone, including my brother, my new home address, and started receiving cards in the mail from her last year. I was 10 years old. I was given to a 34-year-old man to be his third wife. My parents were so happy because it was a great honor to them that I was chosen out of all of the girls there to be with the man that was second in charge. I was smuggled out a month before my 13th birthday. Was deprogrammed, tried to end my own life when I was 16 BC of what I went through. I'm still alive. I'll be 49 this year. I don't know if my parents are even alive. I found out my dad wasn't really my dad, and then my mother proceeded to lie about what actually happened. I experienced a childhood full of physical and verbal abuse, but he never laid a hand on my sisters. Now I know why. I corroborated the truth via other family members, before cutting off all contact with mom and dad, still close with sisters though. My cousin had addiction problems and just burned every bridge in our family. Used to be we'd buy him food and stuff he needs instead of just giving him money because it'd go straight to more drugs, but he eventually became so toxic we couldn't even do that. My father was an abusive alcoholic who left us when I was a teen after several suicide attempts. He was clearly not okay mentally. We reconnected in my early 20s, and when I finally started to build my trust for him again, he disappeared. He tried to reconnect with me a year later when he needed something. I haven't spoken to him since then. Edit, he attempted suicide. Aunt in the rich part of the family made my mother clean their bathrooms one day when she told them we couldn't afford food. Unlucky situation, both parents unemployed within days, instead of just helping her out. They didn't even pay her, they gave her food they had prepared that day and some potatoes and oil. From that day on, my mother was so hurt and felt so humiliated I decided to pretend they don't even exist. Mother was never really present. Even after my father died. Father died when I was not an adult. House was left to 4 of his sons. One brother conned is into signing the house over to him for loan purposes to fix the house up. Stole house. Another brother stole from me and my family with high regularity. Forgave him a bunch of times. Kept doing it so I gave up. Extended family non-existent. With all that being said, I have a fantastic relationship with the last brother. My new stepfather, in a drunken rage, tried to choke me out because I did not agree with his views. My mother did nothing to stop it and took his side. 22 years later, have not spoken to anyone in my family. My sister was cut off about 10 years ago after several incidents involving her spreading rumors about me at my work for a third time. She told one of my boss that I was a hard drug user. I never touched the stuff. She kept doing that after I warned her. I cut off the rest of my family when I confronted them about multiple historical events of physical abuse and torture from when I was a kid. They refused to talk about it and were verbally abusive about it. I cut them off about 5 years ago, and my life has taken a positive turn since. Just stress. Every phone call, every visit, holidays, events. Constantly berated, questioned, and feuding. I didn't cut them off in the sense of no contact. I just stopped caring. I don't ask, I don't get involved. Phone calls last 3 minutes because I have nothing to share, everything is good here. Holidays I eat and leave, and I'm too busy for random drop-ins, because kids have sports and friends, and I have hobbies. When they come to me and vent, I simply respond in unique ways that they'll figure it out, and I'm unsure what I'd do in their place. Through no fault of our own, my mom and I became the black sheep of the family. We were excluded from family dinners, family get-togethers, and family trips. We decided we liked it that way, and just let it happen. Hakuna Matata. I didn't, they did. I decided to leave Mormonism and they chose the church over me. I haven't cut off my family, but I have been cut off from a part of my family. When my father died, I was 10, my mother remarried within a year. My bio-father's family cut me, my brother and little sister off, because of that. I've seen my grandmother on that side once, like 15 years later, right before she died a month later. Luckily, my stepdad adopted us, and became legally our dad, and has treated us as his own every day of his life, and still. My uncle and aunt, whom I lived with from the age of 15 to 19, they always treated me as an inconvenience, even though they're the ones who suggested I went to live with them. They had me clean up after them and their kids. They got mad at me when I ate too much of their food, caused me to have stunted growth and an eating disorder. Made fun of me for being depressed and always discouraged me from doing any type of extracurricular activity at school because they didn't want me to make their kids seem like mediocre losers. They overshared family secrets with me and basically made me feel like I had to share those same resentments towards other people in my family in order to be welcomed into their home. To this day, I still have trust issues with everyone in my life, and I rarely allow myself to make new friends. My father knows exactly how to hurt me emotionally and does it with a disturbing amount of glee. His family is convinced he's a good person that will move heaven and earth for me. Scissors. My brothers SA me. My parents decided to hide it and told me if I'd tell anyone my parents would go to jail. They never got me the help I needed. Now many years later, I'm getting help and trying to heal. My dad has decided he doesn't want any part in it. He would just rather be enraged about politics and my cousin being trans than to help me and stand up for something that actually matters. Whenever it gets brought up, he changes the subject. I've since cut off my brothers and their families. I am working on cutting my dad off as well. I haven't spoke to my family all in nearly 20 years. The day it all happened was the day I lost at least 80% of the problems in my life. Both my brother and I cut off all contact with mom and dad. My brother maintained a relationship with our uncle and I had a relationship with my aunt. My parents abandoned us at 14/15. My brother is a year younger than me. My mom pretended to help me, but never really did much. My dad was depressed/lazy. A decade later, my mom came back into my life. She regrets her previous treatment towards me and regularly helps me financially. My dad became homeless and had to stay with me, so I rebuilt a relationship with him. He's still lazy and depressed. My brother still doesn't talk to anyone. TW pedophilia. My great-uncle Zully abused his own granddaughter. My great-aunt, his wife took his side as well as some other family members, so cut off contact to these family members from my paternal side. Also, I ruined his life later on, smiling face with smiling eyes.